Hey guys, so Talk here, back with another Market Watch, and today we're going to be pretty much looking at the aftermath of Duelist Advance's official release. So to start, I think we all kind of expected this set was going to kind of be a bit of a flop, because realistically, there's not a lot of good stuff in this set, and the good things that are in the set are for the most part low rarity, minus like 2 or 3 cards. And this is really just supposed to bridge us into the Justice Hunter set that comes out at the end of July, beginning of August. So a lot of these cards, I think, right now are not very high in price, and a lot of these cards I think are worth picking up right now before they do go in price with later support, but also with later format changes, etc, etc. Before we do jump on into the Market Watch, though, I have noticed that a great deal of you that are currently watching this video are not subscribed to the channel. So if you like competitive-based content, market watches, and in-depth guides, consider subscribing for more, but also leave a like on this video and comment down below what cards I should talk about in next week's Market Watch. And if you would like to further support the channel, consider joining my community Discord, following me over on Twitch, but also using my TCG affiliate link and my Dueling Guard affiliate link. All links will be in the description down below. So the first card we are going to be talking about is Song of the Dominators. So this is not typically like the greatest card. In terms of the Dominus cards, this is easily the worst one because it does cut you off from being able to use any monster effects from hand for the rest of the turn. But there's also a small group of cards in the current TCG game that also do a very similar effect called the Morganites. And sure enough, with the most recent support to Morganite in the current set of Duelist Advance, Morganite's kind of its own deck right now. It's like Morganite Stun Control, and it's actually like not that bad of a deck. They obviously use stuff like the Vanity's Ruler or Vanity's Fiend, stuff like that, and the Dominus cards are in it because they don't activate cards from hand. So at the current moment, the Song of the Dominators, as you can see here, has started going up in price a little bit. This card was about $10-ish, and now it's about $13, $14-ish. That's still not terrible by any means. There's plenty of listing. It's not getting bought out, but if you are a stun player, I definitely would recommend picking this up just because, again, that Morganite control style deck is getting very popular, and there's a couple people at my locals that played it at the most recent sneak peek, and it actually is like not awful. Still on the topic of the Morganites, so the 2 most recent Morganites, the one that came out in Duelist Advance, but also the one that came out in Aelin, I think, or maybe it was Suda, I don't remember. Those are super rares. However, we had a super rare from way back in Cyberstorm Access, way back in like early 2024, I believe. And also we have the secret rare from the 2024 Megatins. Time-Tearing Morganite is up to about $7 a copy, depending on which set you buy it from. It actually is not a major difference. Yeah, and arguably this is probably the better of the 3, to be perfectly honest. This is one that lets you draw 2 cards in your draw phase instead of 1, blah, 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 gets 2 normal summons. This is the one that kind of gets you all the gas, but because there's more Morganite cards, you can now use this to search one of the other ones, so it's easily the best one, and because of that, it's about $7. So again, if this is a stun style deck you want to play, this might be up your alley to be picking up now. Still on the topic of stun, what better way to be applying stun than Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo, our favorite little guy? So it should come to no surprise that Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo is gaining some traction because, again, stun style decks are getting a little bit of support in the terms of the Morganite cards, but also Gallant Granite is kind of getting popular with not only obviously the Odeon cards that came out a little while back, but some Ryzeal decks are actually making Gallant Granite searching Fossil Dyna, and because Ryzeal doesn't need to use its normal summon, they, at the end of their combo, just normal summon Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo and end on that, meaning you're not cracking the board, like, at all. And so, again, it should come to no surprise that this card is going up in price. There are a whole bunch of listings, so it can't go super up in price. The only major ones worth noting is going to be the Light of Destruction Secret Rare, which is about $32 a copy, and the Quarter Century Rare from Bonanza, which is about $27 to $30 a copy in of itself. But there are, again, plenty of other rarities under the sun. There are regular secret rares from like Speed Duel, there's a common, there's a premium gold, there's plenty of rares. You don't actually have to get the max rarity. This card is still somewhat cheap in the lower rarities. Let's talk about Tri-Brigade Fractal. So this is actually going up in price for a couple of reasons. The first one is yummy. There are some people who are experimenting with Tri-Brigade Yummy as a possible option for the upcoming format. Maybe more of like a rogue option, like Fire King Tri-Brigade was a real thing, like when the Fire King structure deck first came out. It was okay. It topped a handful of regionals, but again, just like with Yummy, we're seeing Tri-Brigade kind of be experimented in there as well. Because Tri-Brigade Kit is just one card combo for the Yummy deck, but Tri-Brigade Fractal is actually gaining a lot of traction right now because it is currently seeing play in the new Lunalight deck as a one-of. What it's doing in there, I'm not fully certain because I'm not 1000% certain on what exactly Lunalight does aside from set up that brand new towers. That's really hard to out, but yeah, it's seeing play. It is definitely seeing play, and as you can see here, the Ultra Rare from Phantom Rage is about $6, and the Prismatic Secret Rare, which looks really good, in my opinion, is about $5.50 a copy. But again, this is a one-of in the Lunalight deck, but Tri-Brigade's also just kind of one of those decks that I feel like it doesn't hurt to just have a core, because the deck, it's just a good engine in a lot of things. You know, we've had Tri-Brigade Sprite, we've had Tri-Brigade Leerlusk, we've had Tri-Brigade Fire King. Like, Tri-Brigade is like a decently splashable engine into a handful of decks, and so this is one of those engines. Like, I have my own Tri-Brigade deck core because it just never hurts to have. Still on the topic of the current format, we haven't quite got to the Duelist Advance stuff yet, is going to be number 80 Rhapsody of Berserk. This has 2 copies, one rare from Primal Origin and a super rare from Astral Pack 6. And you know, those Astral Pack super rares and onward, they're hard to find. So I'm not 1000% certain on why this is going up in price. The only thing I could really find was that people are toying with it in like Ryzeal, because you can summon this to banish 2 cards essentially from your opponent's graveyard. But other than that, again, I can't entirely see why like this is going up in price. It's just another generic rank 4. So like this is Ryzeal's answer to like graveyard decks theoretically. But I don't know how I feel about that when Mitsurugi's still like the best option in the deck, and like you don't really need to be running this. Like, Mitsurugi's just fine, you know, popping off, and you don't really ever need to banish anything from your opponent's graveyard except maybe an engraver, but you know, play Bestials at that point. Next is Yummy. Yummy is causing Dominus Purge to spike in price. Dominus Purge, between Purge and Impulse, Purge was always kind of the not necessarily the weaker link, but like the less popular one, because all it does is prevent an add, whereas the Impulse prevents a special summon. But also Purge was a little less flexible in a lot of decks because it's cutting off Dark, which is one of the most popular typings in the current TCG format. But also like Impulse was just a lot more strong, a lot more popular. But that being said, Yummy is predominantly light, and so because of that, they are playing Dominus Purge, just like how Blue Eyes has played it in the past. And so because of that, this card is nearing the $50 mark. I thankfully bought this when it was about $35 a copy, so saved myself a good bit of money. But this is a card that if you are planning on playing Yummy in the upcoming Justice Hunter TCG format, you're going to want to pick this up like now, because if Yummy really pops off like we expect it's going to, this could be another Dominus Impulse scenario where Dominus Impulse is not only $80 to $90, but hard to find because everyone who has one is using it. All right, let's talk about Duelist Advance. There's not a lot to talk about with Duelist Advance simply because it's just a kind of an underwhelming set, but there were a couple of cards, and I emphasis on the word couple here, a couple of notable cards, one of which is going to be Vanquish Soul Holy Sue, which is obviously the chase card of the entire set. And I tried to tell y'all in past market watches, pick up your Vanquish Soul cards when you could. At this point, I think it's too late, because in the past, all you had to worry about was like Rosin being the expensive one, Stake Your Soul being kind of expensive. Now they're all expensive. Rosin is just for the ultra rare about $26 to $30 a copy. Zhao Long is now ranging from $18 to $20 a copy. The secret rare Rosin is $28 to $30 a copy. Heavy Borger, the secret rare is $15. The ultra rare is $14-ish. Like, hell, even Stake Your Soul for the ultra rare is $35 to $40. The Prismatic Secret's $26 to $30. Like, this whole deck is expensive now. Like, almost every single card minus the 3 or 4 that got reprints in, like, Bonanza and Stampede, which was, like, Pantera, which no one fucking plays. Mad Love, which thank God that one got reprinted. Otherwise, we'd be in real fucking trouble. Caesar Valius, which was only ever a one of to begin with. So, okay, like, that one got reprinted fine. And, like, Continue, which I don't know if the newer builds play anyways. I think Dust Devil also got reprinted, but, like, again, who cares? Like, this deck's expensive now. The cards that really matter are really expensive. Rosin's a 3 of, Stake Your Soul's a 3 of. I'm pretty sure Holy Sue is a 2 of. Don't quote me on that. This deck has gotten very expensive. And speaking of Holy Sue is, again, like the chase card of the new set. And now that pre-sales are over, this is ranging at about $30-ish. And I just want to point this out now. Buy this card now before the NAWCQ, because, and I said this in my most recent tier list of the current format, Vanquish Soul Pure is still a legit deck. This is not a deck to just cast aside and be like, oh, this isn't going to be good until K9. No, this is a legit deck without K9. And if this deck performs at the NAWCQ as Pure, you're going to want to pick Holy Sue up now before K9 comes out, because then you will not be able to find this card for a decent price. Like, $30, especially if it's not a 3 of, if it's like a 1 or a 2 of, $30 is very reasonable. But if you do not buy it now, I can guarantee you that if it performs at NAWCQ like I think it's going to, good luck. Speaking of decks that I think have potentials, in my most recent meta tier list video, I talked about the Art Mage or Art Magia deck being pretty underwhelming as a deck, and I still believe that. I think that its current line of support, its first line, is good. It has legs. There is potential there. Someone's playing it at my locals, and it does pretty good stuff. I don't think it's there yet. I think it has legs to perform, but just like any lore deck, the first wave is just there to be foundation, and then the rest is to be piled on. And I just want to real quick take a look back at the past lore decks that we have had. We have had Branded, which was never like the best deck in the room, but it was incredibly powerful for almost every line of support it ever got. Then we had the Visa Starfrost, which had 2 archetypes that were like the best decks in the room, and then the third one was a very powerful deck, which was Tier Limit with the Tier 0, Kashtira, which was the best deck in the room for a long while, and for a hot minute there was, you know, borderline Tier 0, and still the engine is still good to this day. A Tier Limit is also still good to this day. And then we had Vanadium. So Visas was a good lore deck. And then we had the Diabels and the Diabel Star, White Forest, Snake Eye bullshit going on, where that was also a Tier 0 format. I'm not saying Art Mage is going to be Tier 0 or any of its archetypes will be Tier 0, but these are decks that will be getting support for at least the next year. And so this is probably something, while it's cheap because Duelist Advance was kind of a flop, this might be the time to pick these up now. So Medius the Pure is about $5-6 a copy. I have already picked up all 3 of mine. I believe this is a 3 of. I don't know the ratios just yet, but again, this is easily something you just want to pick up now just in case. Because if the next few lines of support are good, then this could also just be a very powerful meta contender. I'm not saying it's going to be Tier 0 like Kashtira or Snake Eye were, but it's a lore deck. We will constantly be seeing support for this for like the next year. Then looking at the rest of the Art Mage cards, we have Finmal, which is about $4. This is one of the secret rares in the set. We have the Art Mage Varnish Alteration, $3. It's an ultra rare. The Diactorus is a secret rare fusion. It's about $4 a copy. Graflare or Grayflare, I don't know how to pronounce some of these cards, $2 for an ultra. That's not terrible. The most expensive card other than Medius is the Field Spell, which is a secret rare. This is a 3 of. This is the one you want to find when you are playing the deck. This is about $20-ish a copy as well. So for the most part, you're probably paying at most like $100 for the current core. That's not bad for a core that is probably going to receive a lengthy amount of support down the road and is possibly going to be a meta contender. The way I'm looking at it is that if you pay $100 now, yeah, this deck might never pop off. Who knows? But if it does, it could be a lot more than 100 down the road. So just think about it like that way. I've already picked up my core. I pulled most of it, thank God. But this is, I think, a deck that is worth picking up now rather than waiting till later and then regretting that you didn't pick it up while it was fairly cheap. Let's look at Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage. So there's a lot of reasons that this card is going up in price. The first one, and the most obvious one, is Yummy. A lot of people are very much in agreement that the Sky Striker engine is going to probably be the most popular engine in Yummy, because Sky Striker Mobilize Engage is a one-card combo for Yummy. You just activate Engage, get Hornet Drones, and you're off to the races. However, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage is also officially a one-card combo for Raizio Mitsurugi and honestly a handful of other decks. The reason being is the brand new link that they have just gotten in Duelist Advance basically is used to special summon 2 level 4s. It's going to summon Ray and Rose from the deck. But it does not lock you, and it can be very easily made off of Engage, search Hornet Drones, and then you make it, and you just summon out Ray and Rose. Now, this does require you to play a more sizable engine because you are playing Ray and Rose to basically be able to summon to get 2 level 4s on the board to make the duo drive, etc., etc., or the King of the Pharolymphs. But in Yummy, you don't have to play Ray and Rose because you're probably not trying to summon 2 level 4s. So yeah, Engage is spiking in price because it's a one-card combo for so many decks. I would not be surprised if in the near future, I don't think it's going to be our next list, but I think in the near future, I would not be surprised if Engage went back down to like 2 or 1. Just simply because it's so easy to use this to make a one-card combo that I could see Konami just being like, maybe we made a mistake bringing this back to 3. That being said, it is a waifu deck, and, you know, Konami has made it very clear they love Sky Striker, so maybe they don't. They just say deal with it. The link in question, though, is going to be Sky Striker Ace equals 0 is the new link 2 from Duelist Advance. Like I said, you can, once you summon it, tribute the card and special summon 1 Ace Ray and 1 Ace Rose from the deck, and then you can destroy 1 card on the field. You don't have to do that last part. This card is about $15-ish currently standing. If this card continues to pop off the way that a lot of people are currently using it, I could see it spiking in price a little bit, but at the same time, there's a good chance that the Sky Striker, like, sizable engine dies off once Raizio dies off or once Mitsurugi dies off. So we'll just have to see the evolution. But overall, this is still just a good card that I think you should just pick up to have in your collection just because you just really never know. And then the last card, since we are talking about the new Sky Striker cards, is Sky Striker Special Maneuver Lemnis Gate. I probably slaughtered that. This is just the brand new spell. It is an ultra rare in the set. It's about $5 currently standing. I don't know how this fares in anything other than Sky Striker. And Sky Striker, honestly, this new support's pretty fine, even though without Camellia, the deck would very much like Camellia. But this is still like a fine card, and I think it is definitely finding a home in Sky Striker. But unless you're not playing Sky Striker, then you just play, like, unless you are playing Sky Striker, you should just not probably pick this card up. If you're planning on ever playing Sky Striker, or you want to have a Sky Striker core ready in case it ever becomes super meta again, you probably just don't need to worry about picking this card up. And that's it for today's Market Watch. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, and also let me know what card you think I should talk about in next week's Market Watch. Obviously, there were a handful of Duelist Advance cards I didn't talk about today, and that's, again, just because, like, the set really didn't do much for the format. A lot of its purpose was just to kind of build upon what's left of the current format, but also release the Vanquished Soul cards, essentially. The Nouvelle support wasn't anything to talk about. The Lunalight support is all incredibly low rarity. The Onomat cards, I think a couple of them are ultra, and they're, like, still fairly cheap. The new TCG exclusive archetype is all incredibly cheap and, like, not good. I think we can talk about, like, Trapaholic next week, but we'll just have to see. But again, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.